Hello everybody, I'm Christo, and I'm here to talk to you today about something that nobody asked me about. But I have thought about this for a while, and I thought it was interesting, so I'm going to tell you about it. This will not be a long video. So firstly, this is the dulcet tones of Mayo and Taxes. I'm going to use this as an excuse to talk about the fact that I'm submodding Mayo and Taxes. I'm going to make all of the estates have privileges, and then I'm going to try and play Mayo and Taxes again, which will be fun. Hopefully you will enjoy that. Probably more than this. This is Christo doing philosophical thoughts that he should have done during his university degree. So, video games and the internet and morality. That's what I'm going to talk about. I'm very underqualified. I have a mere bachelor's, but that's what I'm going to talk about. So, first thing I wanted to talk to you about was Place. So you've heard of Place, probably. Place is a Reddit thing. If you haven't heard of it, it's cool. You should look it up. I'm not going to explain the whole concept, but basically, you put art on a big canvas by placing one dot at a time. So, for example, where's the UK gone? Have they died? No, here we are. Okay. So you look at this, right? And you see, okay, I want to make it look such and such, but you can only have a very small impact, right? So you place your 1 pixel. So, for example, just now someone's put an orange dot there. I'm going to fix that up. Nice. There we go. We have a nice little UK flag. So you make art, right? Or maybe you destroy other people's art. And Place is a competition for space, you know, so you kind of have to destroy other people's art at some point to claim your own place, as it were, in the art. Now, that's not that interesting. Well, I think it's kind of cool, but it's not that interesting. What's interesting to me is the moral judgments that people make about the usage of things like that, and I promise this ties into video games. So, for example, here's a Reddit post by somebody who's complaining about streamers destroying, distorting, and mutilating art and then laughing about it. How dare they? And you might be tempted to respond, well, you know, it's just a game. So, or it's just a, you know, silly thing on the internet. It doesn't matter. To a certain extent, that's true. And then here is another example. This is Escape from Tarkov. In Escape from Tarkov, you can play as a PMC or a scav. And the general rules, the kind of loose rules that have arisen in the community, is if you're a PMC, you tend to shoot on sight. If you're a scav, you tend to not shoot other scavs. And there are some game mechanics designed to incentivize playing in that kind of honorable way. Now, I find this interesting because you have a kind of morality system in all of these new fields, gaming, online communities, things like that, that arise kind of organically. They arise from whole cloth, and some people have this opinion, which I don't agree with, which basically says if there aren't specific rules, if there aren't, you know, some people think it's wrong to, most people, I think it's wrong to cheat in a video game. So if you loaded up Tarkov and you're using radar, so you can see where enemies are, it's a shooter, by the way, because you couldn't tell from, you know, the guns. That's bad, right? You shouldn't do that. But, like, griefing in lots of things, some people think that's totally fine when it's not against the rules. And I find that interesting, because one of the things that arises, one of the tensions that arises in the Escape from Tarkov community, and in a similar sense in the Place community, is the idea that you should behave honorably. And what people mean by honorably is constantly in flux, and it's really interesting. But that's a lot of setup. Here is my thesis. And this is not a sophisticated moral philosophy thesis, but it is my thesis. When someone says that's not honorable, and yes, and I also don't claim this is novel, but when someone says that's not honorable, or you shouldn't do that, or destroying people's art is wrong, things like that, this reveals the truth of what morality is. And again, I know this is not novel, but I just find it interesting with these examples. What morality is a means of control. When I say, and I'm self-aware about this, when I say scav-on-scav violence in the video game Escape from Tarkov is wrong, what I mean is, I don't want you to do it. That's all I mean. When I say it's dishonorable, when I say it's against the spirit of the game, when I say it's, you know, it's a mean thing to do, when I say it's an unkind thing to do, all of those things mean the same thing. They mean I don't want you to do it. And they're ways of trying to communicate to you in a way that will effectively make you obey. That's what morality is, I think. And that becomes very clear when you're looking at things like Place. So Place, artistic thing, people like drawing their art on it. Some people like destroying other people's art on it. You know, from a first principles perspective, neither of those are wrong. The people who are railing against people destroying it are expressing the thought, I don't want you to do that. But they feel that it's more than that. And that's okay, that's the place notification. They feel that it's more than that, which is really interesting. And it's worth introspecting about. Anyway, I know this is not particularly novel or interesting, but I was thinking about that this morning, so I decided to record my thoughts, because I like talking to the internet. But yeah, it's worth considering. When you're telling someone X is wrong, you could see that meaning, I don't want you to do that, as a negative. That might seem weaker to you than, a true objective metric. Sorry, I'm momentarily interrupted by delivery. Where was I? Yeah, so you might think that's disempowering. You might think me saying that's dishonorable, meaning the same as I don't want you to do that, means somehow the phrase is weakened. But it's not. It's not. When a whole group of people on place, for example, let me get place back up here because it's a more interesting background than my ugly mug. When a bunch of people on place say, I don't want you to destroy art, and they phrase that in a whole bunch of different ways, they are saying something meaningful and potent. A lot of people care what other people think. And people, when they all think the same thing, they will find ways to enforce it. They can find ways to align themselves with other people that want the same thing and things like that. So it's not, to me, it's not at all a disempowering thought. Anyway, those are my thoughts on morality with no script and no real thinking it through before recording. If you got to the end, at least it was interesting. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.